Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello, Jeff. Thanks for coming to MSM, which is Main Street Minds, which is where we allow and encourage other local businesses that I have personally worked with and people that I would like to work with. Everyone on this podcast is an extremely professional organization that I would not hesitate to recommend and work with. So everyone listening over here, this is my go-to person for solar. So Jeff, thanks for coming on MSM and enabling all of my people that I know and everyone in my network to know more about what you do. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Amish. I really, really appreciate it. This is awesome what you're doing.
Great, thanks. So just wanted to go ahead. Do you want to introduce yourself, what you do, and kind of the services that you provide?
So my name is Geoff Mora. I work with SEP. It's Solar Energy Partners. The last word standing for partners, as in we partner with a lot of different installers, financiers, batteries. So we're kind of the Expedia of solar, right? We're able to put in your information and get you the best product with the best companies at the best price possible.
Sounds great.
I've been doing this I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, yeah, and really, really enjoying the market and everything that it offers.
Yeah, amazing. So, what are some of the more common questions that you see, from customers? When you say you are able to provide a customized solution, is it easy to integrate all these different products? Are they standalones, and are there compatibility issues that you generally observe?
No, actually, it's very, very streamlined process, very simple. The main thing that I like my customers to understand is that I am the go-to guy. I don't want them to have to worry about, oh, do I have to call this company or this company or this finance? I can't stop you. But I do let them know that I'm the guy to contact, and I will get on the phone with whoever needs to be contacted. That way you can go about your work day or whatever it is that you're doing that day and not have to worry about staying on the phone for a long period of time. So generally, when I get the information, I'm able to input it into a system where it brings up all of the top installers and financiers and batteries that are needed, if you need a battery, depending on what state you're in. And then once I'm able to so they always tell you to get 3 to 5 quotes, right? And the good thing here is I'm actually literally able to get you 3 to 5 quotes just on my own. And I can present you all of them. I like to come in and just present what I feel is the best quote, best company, best installer. And that way there's not a whole lot of decision making to be done. You just have to decide if you like what PG&E is doing or what I show you on the solar side.
Okay, and let's say I got a quote a year ago. Is it fair to, maybe a year or 3-4 years ago, is it fair to use that quote and see the new quote? Has the solar price, so the panel cost reduced? Has the PG&E cost or any other utility company, wherever the person is located, has that changed? What is the difference between what in the world of solar panels and batteries and backup powers? What has changed in the last decade, and where do you see things going in the next 10 years?
Gotcha. So that's a great question, Amish. And the true answer is solar is actually one of, if not the only industry that prices have kind of gone down. Whereas PG&E, every time something goes wrong, the more energy that you use per month, per year, your prices go up. So in the last 4 to 5 years, PG&E has risen about 130 to 150%.
In you said 5 years within
And
within
if as far as their rates.
yeah. In what duration did you say? In 5 years or 10
Yeah,
years?
yeah, and about pretty much the last 3 to 5 years, they've gone up about
Wow.
150, um, possibly even a little bit more. They're um, just this past year, we're in 2023, it went up 36% this year,
Yeah.
and scheduled to increase another 140 to 150% over the next 5 years as well.
Yeah, I think
With
people don't realize a zero point 0.4 kilowatt versus a zero point 0.3 is a huge change.
It
Yeah.
is, yes.
So that is
So
around
as far as
33%, right? Yeah. And when we
yeah,
look at
yeah,
the
yeah.
bill, we will not even realize maybe it went from zero point 0.3 to 0.39 and we're like, oh, it's the same. No, but it's not. It's like a 33%
It,
increase.
it's a big increase. So they just passed another um, another motion for PG&E. So they're January 1. Everyone that's not on solar, their bill is going up $30 to $40, and then again in March. So
Oh,
literally
wow.
in the next 3 months, your bill is going to go up anywhere from $60 to $80 for PG&E customers.
So
They
like,
typically have been typically have been increasing their rates 4 times a year.
oh, wow. So if I start right now before March, can you help me save that money?
I definitely can. Yes, there's a lot of companies out there. Once again, I don't necessarily like to talk bad about companies, but there are definitely a few companies out there that take anywhere from 6 to 18 months just to get you installed. And if you're waiting that long, well, then you're still paying PG&E prices.
Hmm.
The companies that I use, um, typically we've been getting them done in 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
Um, but at the same time, I'm always very careful when I mention that, because that is if everything goes perfect. You
Yeah.
know, the first thing that we have to do is a site survey, and that's when they come and survey the house and make sure that the roof is good. So if you need a new roof, you can tack on another 2 to 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And if your electrical panel is upgraded and can handle all of the power of the solar plus what you're using in your home. And if you need a MPU, which is a main panel upgrade, then you can account for another 2 to 3 weeks. Even though we're doing them pretty quickly, I like to typically say within 3 months. I'd rather be on the higher side than on the lower side, and not, and underproduce as opposed to overproducing.
Yeah, and I do home remodels all the time, right? I'm always working with the city and contractors and stuff.
Hmm.
It's just so many moving components. 3 months, honestly,
Correct.
is magical, right? Like, and over here, you're like almost saying within 3 months, you're pretty certain we will be able to get it done. So, yeah,
Correct.
uh, when if it's a simple install, I think I would say probably year 2000 and higher, maybe a house that's made in 2000 or higher might just be a little more simpler to install.
Correct.
Hopefully, the roof is still good. It's time flies. It's 23 years since since 2000. Yeah,
I
so
know.
we are halfway through their roof life. Hopefully, probably almost three fourth, 75% of the roof life is over by then. But yeah,
Correct. And the good news there, that people obviously, that maybe it used to be different, but nowadays, especially with PG&E prices just skyrocketing,
hmm,
95% of the time, I can give you a new roof for no money out of pocket,
hmm,
plus put solar on your house for no money out of pocket,
hmm,
and that bill would be noticeably lower than your average PG&E bill today. So to get a new roof and solar and still pay quite a bit less than what PG&E is charging you is a pretty good deal, if you ask me.
hmm. Yeah, and I keep looking at these advertisements which says solar is we can do a free solar install. What are they? What is that? What is? Can you like raise the curtain and tell us the secret? What does that even mean?
Yes, I definitely can. Obviously, I dislike the word free. Every American knows nothing is free. However, with all of the government grants and incentives, we are able to put the solar system, get the permits, put the battery in, all the installation costs, all the any materials needed, and that won't cost you a penny. So the only thing that the customer pays for is the actual solar bill, which is producing your energy at a much lower rate than PG&E. And so typically your first payment for solar won't be until after it's installed. Then PG&E inspects it, approves it, and then they give you permission to turn it on. Once they give you permission to turn it on, technically there is still a little bit of energy still on the back end from PG&E, and we assure you that you will not have a PG&E bill and a solar bill. So there's about a 3 to 4 week period after that power to operate is PTO, and then you get your first solar bill. So back in the day, like what you're talking about, yes, there was like most of it was loans, and you had to. Some people would refi their house just to take out a loan to get solar, or they had to put all this money down. That is no longer the case. So that's what they mean by free. That's why I use the words no upfront cost.
Yeah, yeah. I was getting my New Jersey mortgage license. I was going through those trainings, and New Jersey has. I mean, I know we are nowhere close to that, but I stumbled across one specialized program in New Jersey that was meant for energy efficiency. So we don't have to do
Mm,
this whole craziness that we sometimes have to do. Not a PACE program.
right.
That was something very specific to New Jersey. So I did stumble across something from the mortgage world, which was related to solar. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is there
Yeah.
is
So
there
yeah, they go ahead.
is there still like a 30% credit that would that people can qualify for? But I'm assuming
There is,
50%
yeah.
credit of their income.
Last year, 2022, they were supposed to drop that from 30% to 26%, and then down to 20%, and then get rid of it. But as of last year, they actually extended the 30% tax credit for 10 more years. So we have that 10% or that 30% tax credit until what 2032, 2033, I believe.
Okay, cool. So, and does that mean somebody should push out their install, or do you think the increasing cost of utilities charging for electricity does that is it uh, what should be the decision making factor? Like, should they say, oh, we still have 10 more years to install the solar, and the solar prices are going down? Like, how does somebody compare, saying, is it a right time to install?
Yeah, without taking out a calculator and putting the exact numbers on it, if you were to buy solar right now and you did it the way that I tried to explain to my customers, um, 10 years from now, you probably would have spent, I would say, closer to like $50,000 to $60,000 at the lowest for PG&E.
If the rates are the
Now,
same, if the rates are what they are
E-
today.
even if the rates were to stay the
Yeah.
same, which we know they're just going to keep
Yeah.
increasing. So imagine what that number becomes if you were to stay with PG&E. If you wait another 5 years before you go solar, well, basically you're literally just throwing money in the trash. You're throwing away $2,000, $3,000 a year. So that's 30,000 just like that in 10 years. When, to be honest with you, your system would already be paid off by then.
Right.
Um, and so the next biggest thing that we get is, people scared of the 25-year agreement with solar. To be honest, that's the biggest benefit. because what I always ask the people, like, when does your contract end with PG&E?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is
Never.
never.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously I'm usually talking to homeowners, and I would just ask them straight up, hey, if you do you have kids? If you had kids, would you tell them to rent for the rest of their life?
Mm-hmm.
Of course not. You would tell them to rent while they're getting established and then
Mm-hmm.
buy a home.
Yeah.
And that's because you get the equity, you get the asset, and so
Mm-hmm.
putting solar on your house, according to Zillow and Google, it'll raise the value of your home anywhere from 3 to 6%.
Sweet. Yeah. And obviously, like the peace of mind that I have with my solar install and with the battery backups that I have, I
Yeah,
I mean, I think it should be mandatory. Like a house should have solar. Like it really doesn't make sense to not have solar for anybody. Like if you use electricity, I mean, if you don't use electricity, maybe solar doesn't make sense. But if you do use
right,
electricity, and almost everything is headed electrical right now, like most of the rehabs I
correct,
do, PG&E comes and says there is going to be no gas in this house. Everything is electric, and
right,
the more electric and hybrid cars that we use, the more electricity is being used. And this is a good time when we are installing the solar panels to ensure the systems are implemented correctly, the calculations are done correctly. We have a professional person that will come in and ensure the house doesn't burn down when you plug in an electrical car and
right,
switch on the AC at the same time.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
so
And that's funny that you said that as far as um, with your solar, the thing. I lost my train of thought there.
yeah, so for me, the biggest benefit was I live up in the hills. If there was the slightest chance of fire, PG&E
Hmm.
switches off electricity. The first year I moved into
Right.
the house, I celebrated Diwali, which is the festival of lights, in complete darkness. And this was like a month after
Wow.
moving into a brand new house. And
Gotcha.
nobody ever told me about those things. I had a 1-year-old baby who would cry because wouldn't get hot milk. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, one night, the very first night that thing happened, I did not have a lighter to even switch on the stove. And here I have a
Ah.
baby who's crying for hot milk, and I had no way
Right.
to heat up the milk. And I said, okay, this has to be fixed. And then the
Right.
same thing happened every year whenever there would be a chance of fire, PG&E would switch off the electricity. So I was like, there has to be a backup power. That was the second year of living in that house. I was like, this has to be fixed. So it was almost like a life, like just like heating is as important, electricity became just as important for my life with small kids, especially. And I switched
Right.
my water heater to be electric, and I didn't realize the what electric water heaters take a crap ton of electricity. The electric
Ah.
water heater I installed has 4 240 volts wires going into it, and I was like,
Oh
it's
wow.
it's tankless, right? It's tankless. That's why, if in case if there's like 2 or 3 people taking a shower, it uses that electricity to quickly heat up the water.
Gotcha. That's good. That's very helpful.
And that is sitting in the garage. My electric car is sitting in the garage. Just outside the garage
Yeah.
is my condenser for the AC, and right above the garage is my kids' room. So
Ah.
there were nights when I was like, if this install is not done professionally and correctly, my kids might be on fire.
Right.
Like
Not good.
everything is right there, right? So
Yeah.
that's where I would say, yeah, definitely use very good professional help, do it right, install the right components, don't cut corners, do it
Yeah.
professionally with somebody that knows how to do it, and still you can save money while working with Jeff and doing it correctly and doing it the right way. So that was the reasoning, saying, hey, like I really liked working with you, saying, hey, let's do this properly.
Yeah. Thanks, Amish. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's bad apples in any industry. Bad companies, bad salesmen, I mean, you can go to a Ferrari dealership or Mercedes dealership, a BM dealership, and you can get a great salesperson, or you can get a salesperson that's just trying to, just trying to get one over on you. And we do run into that. We do run into that problems a lot. And going back to what you're saying as far as the how they should be mandated, well, as of last year, it actually is mandated on any
Okay.
new home new homes that are being built. The only problem is that the developer normally who's building the homes, they only put the minimal panels that are needed. Therefore, if you move in with a bigger family and more kids, you're just going to end up having what they call a true-up bill at the end of the year, where you're paying for the solar and you're paying for PG&E power as well, and that's just something that we work really hard to not have with our customers.
Mm-hmm.
But to further go on with the mandate is like, you already have solar, but let's just say you wanted to add a pool or add a jacuzzi or, anything that's going to require you to get a permit from the city.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually now mandating that as well. So if you wanted to just think, oh, well, I'll just add a pool, but I'm never getting solar. Well, in order for them to give you that permit to do any add-ons to your home, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to mandate that you get solar, and then they will approve your permit to add on whatever it is that you want to add on at your home. So it's definitely going that way as far as mandating, and not only to help the infrastructure of the
Mm-hmm.
grid and PG&E, and there's power in California, but I mean naturally it's to help the homeowners. I mean
Mm-hmm.
it's your home, and you own it. And I get real frustrated when people tell me that they don't run the air because it's too much, and they don't run this because it's too much. And I'm like, don't you own your home? Then like, let's get you to own your power. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and like a lot of people also think about it from a perspective saying, hey, like that's how that let's say that's how your parents lived, or that's how people lived. Like, hey, there was no refrigerator in the house, there was no AC in the house. Is that
Right.
what you want in the future? Or do you want the future where you have, if there is an option, if technology is available, if tools and resources are available, do you want your future where you just survive, or you can have a comfortable life and focus on what you really need to do instead of saying, hey, I'm just going to relax through the Sunday afternoon and like chill because it's too hot. You could rather be
Right.
doing something else, doing some artwork, doing some music, like not let
Yeah.
hot weather bother you. Like let's think of the future. Like let's imagine the future and make it happen, right? Rather than saying, hey, let's go backwards in life.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think a lot of people they miss that, and people they're comfortable. A lot of people don't like change,
Yeah.
but at the same time, those same people never would have, never in their wildest dreams would have thought they would have had a computer as a phone.
Yeah.
And yet here we are.
Yeah. And it's
A lot of them say, "Oh, we'll never have electric cars. We'll never." Well, here we are.
yeah. Yeah. And like once you have it, would you go back and use one of those Nokia
Right,
2310 phones? It's still available
right,
on Amazon. Would you did you even search for it, or did you even buy it? No, right? Once you have experienced what is possible and it is better, there is no going back. So yes,
correct,
if you have solar, like my house actually had solar. It didn't have battery backup before. It had like that the same thing, right? The minimal solar panels that the builder was forced to put on my system, put on the house, and I was like, it's
yeah,
not enough. It's like I'm going to have an electric truck. I'm going to have a electric car. I already had like a hybrid minivan and a smaller
mm,
electric car, and I wanted the larger electric truck. All of that thing consumes power, and I
right,
wanted hot water when PG&E switches off electricity. So I was like, it's a no-brainer. I need my batteries. I need my solar. It's not even an
yeah,
option. So and life is convenient. Like the other day, I did not even realize when I saw the messages from the neighbors saying, "Hey, there is no electricity since 5 hours. I think we are expecting electricity back at 7 p.m." And I was like, "Oh, I did not even realize it."
you didn't even know.
Yeah, it it's so much more convenient now. So yeah, would definitely
And
recommend.
that's the thing, right? It's convenience. I always refer back to the Ring doorbell. I
Hmm.
mean, people are paying $100 a month for a doorbell, but it's for the convenience that they can
Hmm.
see who's at the door. They can even talk to somebody's at the door. Some of them have it hooked up to where you can unlock and lock your door,
Hmm.
with the alarm systems and it's convenience. But I really hit home with that because I'm like, you're paying $100 or more for a doorbell.
Hmm.
I'm like, like the batteries, people are making a big hissy fit about the batteries, but who you're going to make a bigger hissy fit when you have to throw away all that food in your fridges and your freezers, when your babies or kids are
Hmm.
crying or not happy or driving you nuts. To have battery backup, we're talking, I mean, $50 to maybe $100 a month, depending on
Hmm.
if you need two batteries or not. But it's really convenience. We don't have a whole lot of blackouts in California. I know
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it depends on where we are at. So like if on the hills where I live, it
Right.
PG&E cuts down power like there's no tomorrow for
Ah,
no apparent reason. I think we have about 15 to 20 power outages a year,
oh wow.
multiple hours.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's very it I did not even think about that before I moved into this house. I've not
Right.
experienced it. I lived in Ohio. I've lived through storms. I've lived through Hurricane Sandy and like everything, right, in New Jersey and like on
Yeah.
East Coast. And I've spent enough time in Texas. I've lived in Ohio in the coldest places. I mean, yeah, there were power outages, like it happens, but it was never something that bothered me. But like the
Gotcha.
location where I am with the risks that are there, with the fire risks, and PG&E like being on the edge with ensuring there's no more wildfires. Uh,
Right.
having your own electricity is extremely critical, and it's the same for everybody.
Yeah,
Right? It's going to be
very.
it's a no-brainer. Like if even if you're living in the valley, like away from any of these issues, having solar is uh, there's no reason to not do it.
Yeah, no, people that have, I mean, I wasn't doing solar 5 to 10 years ago, but those people that got solar then, yeah, maybe a couple of them, a few of them, they probably have true up bills because we've learned a lot about solar and how it's developed. But or they've added electric cars, which they took more power, but those solar customers are still paying a much lower rate than what PG&E customers are paying. And the thing with solar is that even if you buy power from PG&E,
Hmm.
you're not buying it at the top tier,
Right.
right? Most people right now for the top tier, when you're using a lot of power, especially between 4 and 9 p.m., you're paying anywhere from, I want to say, 43 to 51 cents in your area and up to
Hmm.
70, 80 cents in the Southern California area. Most customers 10 years ago, they're still barely at maybe 25, 30 cents. Some of them a lot lower than that. Um, when I sign up a new customer, generally I get them, as once again, as best of a deal as I can. And most of my customers are paying between 18 to 25 cents starting off.
Hmm.
It really just depends on which program you go with. Whereas it would take them 20 years to even reach what we're at right now of 50 cents per kilowatt.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's the biggest, that's one of the hardest things is just to explain to
Sure.
most homeowners because they don't even, they just pay the bill. That's the thing with electricity. That's a bill that you just pay and you don't even really think twice about it because you have to pay it.
Yeah.
That's where I come in to try and let people know, like, well, I get that. Why would you pay more on a bill that you have to pay when there's another option?
Hmm.
I mean, it's like you said, it's a no-brainer. It's hard to get people to understand change and what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And like there is just so many multiple factors that play into taking the decision of how to size it, what to do, looking at the future. Uh, I know a lot of people who are very analytical. They go deep into the analysis and figure things out, read their reviews, try
Yes.
to do all the calculations, and they think that this is the right solution. But hey, always get a second opinion. Work with Jeff. Get things reviewed, and trust me, like there is just so many things that change. The location, the
Mm-hmm.
pricing, the price,
Mm-hmm.
the options within your own house, the of the different levels and plans that PG&E offers, and what they are going to do in the future. What is the cost of panels? What is the battery cost? What is the install cost? Will you need the main panel upgrade? Uh, there's just so many factors affecting it. That's why I think it definitely needs a professional who understands all of this to actually guide you in the right way. So that's where Jeff steps in and gets you the best possible option. And I have not met anyone else that knows more about all of these details together than Jeff. So I would highly recommend reaching out to Jeff and having a consult with him.
Thanks, Amish.
The first consult is free. It's a very simple phone call, right? So, what's the best
Yeah.
way every people can reach you?
Yeah, so by phone, email, you can go to my website and even take a look at what we have to offer. You can even schedule an appointment straight from the website, jeffmorasolar.com. For those of you that don't know, I do spell my name differently, so it would be GeoffMora solar.com. You can even email me at that as well, jeffmorasolar@yahoo.com. And feel free to call or text anytime. I'm always available to answer a call and a text. If I'm in a meeting, then I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And that number is 559-448-7292.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff. And what's one gift, one piece of advice, or one little tip that you can give to anybody watching this podcast?
Um, Honestly, yeah, just I know that it's so easy to, just go online. One of the biggest, you type in solar, the first name you're going to see is Sunrun. I work with Sunrun. SunPower is another one. The biggest thing is that it's hard to not go with like a bigger name. But a lot of those companies, they're finance companies. And that's why we work with them as a finance company because that's what they're known as. And then we don't use them as an installer because you might not get the best installers or the best project done or is it done quickly. And then they only offer, one type of battery, whereas I can get, the best in multiple types of batteries. So, like we were saying earlier, as far as getting multiple bids, in my opinion, I think that's one of my biggest attributes and benefits is that yes, I might go do the first consultation over the phone or over a Zoom, but when you're ready to sign documents and get everything processed, I want to be there in person. I want you to see me. I want you to to see who you're talking to, and just to know that one, I'm real. I'm not here to scam anyone, and I give you the information how it is, and I'm not trying to just get you the lowest price because a lot of times that's not the best way.
Yeah,
You got to remember you get what you pay for sometimes, unfortunately.
yeah, and but I would still say like you do manage to get the best value, right? I think it may not be the lowest price, but
Yes.
the best value. So that's the plus point. And what regions do you like to work in? Like what are your ideal locations that you work in?
So mainly like in Northern Cal, Central Cal. I work from Fresno to Bakersfield to San Ramon, Oakley, California, all the way to LA, Southern Cal. So pretty much all of Sacramento, all of California. my company is also able to operate in 40 different states as well.
Sweet.
But most of the other states, their electricity rates are nowhere near where California is. But that doesn't mean not to look into it and not to go solar, because everybody knows that inflation is real, and depending on which option you choose for solar, we can make you inflation proof. So, let's say that your average bill is 150 and I come in and get you at 150, but guess what? My 150 will never change, whereas electric rates will constantly go up.
Yeah, it's like the mortgage, right? The rents will increase. Your mortgage is fixed,
Yes.
almost fixed, right? Property taxes may change,
Right.
uh, and
Right.
you still own it. Like once those payments are done, you still have the equipment, you still have everything in place. Just like your house. Once the loan is paid off, you still have the house. You don't have
Correct.
to find a new place after 30 years and 25 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very true. And the solar agreements are only 25 years because solar has only been around for 30 years. So they just didn't know how long the panels would last. Based on the research that I've done, panels are lasting at least 30 years. So if you pay off your system in 10 years, then you don't have a payment for the next 15 years or 30 or 20 years. Even if you just decide to pay it every month until 25-year agreement, after that 25 years are done, you own the system. You don't have to pay anything for at least 5 years, assuming everything is, still working and taken care of and operating.
Sweet. Yeah, exactly. So that's amazing. So thanks Jeff for coming on this podcast and enlightening us with everything you know. And I would highly recommend reaching out to Jeff. Don't delay things. Uh, don't procrastinate it. You're still 2 more weeks within December. Make this year 2024 goal. Uh, d- there is 10 years of
Yeah.
credits. Don't let that be the hurdle. Use that as a benefit. You can still get that 30%
Right.
tax credit. Uh, I think the tax credit is based on when you apply, right, for the permit. So uh,
Yeah,
maybe
after you get installed.
still sneak in this year. Let I
It's
that will be a
it's
rush.
possible.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's
completely
possible,
rule
but
it out. If you reach out in the next hour, maybe. Yeah.
hey,
So reach out
I'll
reach
be
out to
waiting by my phone.
Jeff. Yeah,
But
exactly.
but at the worst case scenario, we're able to lock you in a rate, because it is the holidays, and if I were to lock you into a rate in the next couple of weeks, then you would know that that's not going to change. Whereas after the new year, I mean, solar does change, it does fluctuate, it does have it does go up as demand, but not like everything else. To be honest, the demand has gone up, and the
Hmm.
prices have actually like gone down with like the batteries and the panels
Yeah.
and whatnot. But the last thing that I would leave people with is, all the underground wiring that they're doing, all the fires that happen in the lawsuits, all the, the owners and their $1 million salaries. You're all paying for that.
Yeah.
Uh, PG&E customers are all paying for that.
Hmm.
The biggest thing that they don't understand is everyone that I sign up for solar, you're paying for that as well,
Hmm.
right? Like, I mean, the PG&E is not paying for the 30% tax credits, the incentives, the no cost upfront equipment, like all that stuff is being paid for by the PG&E customers.
Hmm.
If you
Absolutely.
want to get rid of those fees, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that is perfect. So reach out to Jeff and reach out quickly. Don't There is really no reason to delay this. So reach out to him soon. This right now. Thanks, Jeff.
Right now, thanks, Amish.
Thanks. Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.